Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. We were talking about the politics of Kano. It's not longer a politics of Kano. It's become a politics of the North, and of course, gotten global attention now. Let's get back to my panel tonight on the program. Professor Awal Yadudu from our Abuja studio is a former legal advisor to the late President Musa Yadudu and a professor of law at the Bayero University in Kano. And Senator Shehu Sani, a former senator from Kaduna State. And from our Kano studio is the secretary to the Kano State government, Mr. Usman Alhaji. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming. Let me go to our Abuja studio with Senator Shehu Sani. Your home state, Kaduna, is probably not directly involved in what has happened, but your governor has shown some interest in the matter in appointing the deposed emir with 2 appointments in just 24 hours. What do you make of the situation?
Thank you, Sharon. First of all, my position. My position is very clear and unambiguous. That is, the deposition of Muhammad Sanusi is illegal, is wrong, and is simply directed for the fact that he has always been telling truth to power. And it has been customary for many state governors in Nigeria today not to accept or tolerate criticisms in their own domain. Now, Kaduna State involvement, or personally the governor of Kaduna State involvement, I think is a form of solidarity with his friend that has been deposed. And then by such appointment, he is sending a message to those that deposed him that he is identifying with his friend in his moment of need. But Shehun, the issue is very clear. Can the governor of Kaduna State tolerate Shehu Sani if I'm an emir for one day? Can he do that? If I'm emir of Kaduna today and I have been speaking out critical of him or Buhari or the federal government as a whole, can I last for 24 hours? So I think what matters most is that we should practice what we preach. In as much as you accept and you reject the deposition of Sanusi, let us see that within your own domain you are also tolerant of people critical of you. So I am fully in support of whatever that is being done to identify with Sanusi. And I think it is time that those who are elected into the position of office should also always know that power is transient and that people who criticize you doesn't mean that they are enemies, but they have to do that. But it's very clear, whatever the position of the state government, the persecution of Sanusi has been there for a very long time, from the fact of several anti-corruption agencies inviting him, balkanizing the emirate, and targeting him and all those things, and now it came to sacking him out of office. But it is the fact that traditional institutions are so vulnerable to the dictates of politicians, and this calls for a law to protect them, to be able to serve their people. I don't think that in the whole of 36 states of Nigeria today, you will have a governor that can stomach criticisms, not just from traditional rulers, but from his local government chairman, and even people who are elected or not elected in the state. So it is something...
Senator Sani, let me quickly butt in. From the angle of Kaduna State and what this means for Kano State, you've spoken. But let's look at the northern politics as a whole. The deposed emir in the past few months have been heard and seen over the past few years since he came into office, about 6 or 7 years, have been heard, seen speaking on the issues that concern the northern region of the country. Some have criticized that perhaps he should have had some personal conversation with the governor instead of coming to the public to criticize him. Do you think that could have been a possibility instead of escalating this kind of situation in the public?
I think what has happened here is a failure of dialogue and the fact that northern political, religious, and traditional rulers that ought to have intervened and address the issue have also failed. And I can remember that there was a committee led by General Abdul Salam Abubakar, and if I'm not mistaken, what he has said is that he made his presentation, and it was presented to the president, and nothing was done about it, and they allowed the war to escalate. So for this, we can see that it is true that there is no audio, video, or document to show that the president has a hand in the deposition and the removal of Sanusi, but it is evident that his refusal to intervene also made him culpable. And as far as I'm concerned, I believe that if those who have been speaking now and have been acting now have done a lot in terms of bringing both the government and the emirate together, we couldn't have arrived at where we are today. And it is sending a clear message that people who are holding traditional positions in Nigeria either have to say and do what their governors want them to do, or they will be sacked, and that is clear.
Let me, for a moment, go to our Kano studio again and speak to the SSG. SSG, I was trying to make clarification because these are some of the questions that people are asking and they wanted to know. But let me make a reference to the letter you personally signed 2 days ago at the dethronement of the Emir of Kano. The first paragraph was explicit. It was clear enough. And this is what you said in that first paragraph. You said, I wish to confirm that the Kano State Executive Council, under the chairmanship of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kano State, Dr. Abdullah Muhammadu Ganduje, OFR, during its sitting on the 9th of March 2020, you went further to say, has approved and directed for your immediate removal and dethronement as the Emir of Kano, and also for your relocation to Nasarawa State. That was explicit. So if one is asking, perhaps it's straightforward, who relocated him to Nasarawa State, isn't it?
Well, Sheikh, let me begin by saying, luckily, the law in Nigeria is for everybody. It's meant to protect the lawyers and the non-lawyers. And therefore, we are, if they decide to contest it, then the law, of course, the courts are there to interpret. But let me quickly say that when you played the clip, which saw me reading to the press at the council, which was the real decision taken by the governor and brought to the executive council, which unanimously agreed with him. There was no question of movement to anywhere. The paper is there. It was distributed to pressmen, and it was widely published. So let me begin from there. The decision of the Executive Council to to accept the decision of the governor is clear and is there. To inform the emir that was removed, hours before that letter you read just now was written, is to, of course, inform him the decision that was reached to move him out of Kano.
All right. So, Mr. Alhaji, we need to close the program now. But in 30 seconds, clarify, things went bad between your principal, the governor, and the deposed emir. Did the emir or did the governor warn the emir about his decision privately before things got public? Just in 30 seconds, if you clarify that.
Yes. Well, let me also say that if you take the law that was given, the law that gave mandate and the power to His Excellency to remove the emir, it is also very, very clear. It has nothing to do with the political agreement, disagreement. The provisions are there, they are clear. You have to keep the sanctity of the emirate. You have to accept and obey legal and legitimate instructions, you have to attend the meetings, you have to. So it is there on and on.
All right. We are obviously out of time, SSG. Let me quickly get the views of my other guests. And we need to do this in a few seconds, about 20 seconds each, and get your final thought. Let me begin with Senator Sani. Your final thought on the program, on what this is happening and the implication of this. Just in 20 seconds, please.
Well, my first of all is that Sanusi should challenge his deposition and his banishment, which was clear, whether you call it relocation, in court. And secondly, it is time those who are elected into office to know that this is a democracy and people have the right to express their opinion. And as far as people of the North are concerned, the need for them to embrace progressive ideas that will advance the region is important, and people should not be persecuted.
All right, let's get Professor Yadudu to give us his final closing thoughts there. Professor, just in 20 seconds, your final thoughts on the program tonight.
Yes, my closing remarks is that actually the senators was advising that the deposed AMI should challenge both the deposition and the banishment. I think he has spoken eloquently. He has accepted what has happened, and he has put his trust in Allah, the God. But I think he has instructed lawyers to challenge the banishment. It is illegal, it's unconstitutional, it has no basis, and it is very, very clear in the letter conveying his removal.
All right. On a final Thank you so much, Professor Awal Yadudu, former legal advisor to late President Yadudu and Professor of Law at the Bayero State University, Kano, and Senator Sani from Abuja studio as well, a former lawmaker from Kaduna State, and as well as Mr. Usman Alhaji, Secretary to the Kano State Government. Thank you so much, my partner tonight, for coming in. Well, that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Shunwa Kimale. Bye for now.